What's poppin', Barons?
On today's episode, we'll see what Abigail cooked up for her first segment of the year.
See what our freshmen are up to.
Unlock the key to some of BCC's greatest mysteries.
And get up to date on Baron Sports.
I'm Ben Moran.
I'm Amelia Stanley.
And you're watching BCC TV. So Amelia, what's going on in the news this week?
On Saturday, key Saudi Arabian oil facilities were attacked. This attack obliterated nearly half of Saudi Arabia's oil capacity. Investigators from both the U.S. and Saudi Arabia determined that there's a high probability that the attacks came from an Iranian base.
Yo, you ever want to get someone's genetic profile, but the hair you stole from their bathroom doesn't have the root on it?
Not at all.
Well, you're in luck. An article published by the New York Times on Monday tells of Ed Green, a paleogeneticist from the University of California, Santa Cruz, a man who made it possible to find someone's genetic profile from any piece of hair, whether it be rootless or not. This will be a game changer to the world of crime and surveillance.
In local news, Montgomery County has issued a racial equity bill, which would create a new executive branch meant to make certain that all decisions made by county officials fit the needs of all residents, regardless of race or class. Council members are all in support of the bill, and a hearing will be held September 29th.
On Monday, a Walt Whitman High School student was arrested for allegedly attacking another student with a frying pan. The suspect was charged with first-degree assault and was taken into custody. The victim was treated on school grounds with no other injuries reported.
You know, my teacher always told me that the best way to solve a problem is with a frying pan.
Who told you that?
I don't really know.
That's fine. You shouldn't just take everything your teachers tell you as the truth. I mean, in middle school, one of my teachers told me that I had attention-seeking behavior.
Yeah, that one was definitely a lie.
Let's throw it to Abigail to see some more lies teachers have been known to tell us.
School, or as I like to call it, an education institution that specializes in the systematic annihilation of any amount of fun derived from learning. It's a nuisance. But worse than that, it's sometimes wrong, and I don't know about you, but I prefer my archaic institutions of learning to at least get their facts right. But many things we learn in school aren't actually accurate to how our world exists, like how the Earth is flat. Okay, so apparently that was too hot a take for BCC TV. So let's start with the map. This is not actually what the world looks like. To paraphrase a quote from West Wing, the way it's sized is laughably inaccurate. For example, on the map, Greenland is pretty big, right? And that's not to say it isn't, but if someone somehow transplanted Greenland on top of Africa, it would only cover 7% of Africa's total mass. And speaking of, Africa is 1.7 times bigger than Russia. Again, this is how they appear on the map, and this is how they actually compare to each other. What does this mean? The very basis upon which we teach our children everything is a bold-faced lie. Now, why are cartographers such lying hacks? Well, they're not entirely to blame. The reason the map is sized the way it is isn't some crazy conspiracy. It's just kind of what happens when you have to draw a sphere on a flat surface. Naturally, things are going to be misinterpreted and lost in translation. But that being said, the map is lying to you, and so are the lizard people that run our governments. Now, if the education system is lying about this, then what else are they lying about? Well, for one thing, knuckle cracking. You ever just casually crack your knuckles and some adult from the other side of the room goes, "That'll give you arthritis"?
But here's the thing.
Studies have shown that people who crack their knuckles and people who don't have roughly the same chance of developing arthritis. In layman's terms, no scientific link has been found between knuckle cracking and arthritis, though it's not entirely good for you. Even though it doesn't cause arthritis, cracking your knuckles is linked with swelling and a weaker grip. But regardless, you can pry knuckle cracking out of my cold, dead, hideously swollen hands. And on that note, back to you, Ben and Amelia.
Thanks, Abigail. I guess I just don't need to listen to my teachers anymore. Just kidding, Mr. Penn.
Well, I mean, we're seniors now. I guess we're barely listening to our teachers as it is. We've got to start listening to ourselves.
Wow, I forgot how amazing it was to be a freshman. Listening to teachers, getting lost in the hallways, fiending for lunch spots.
Waking up every day with a smile on my face and the motivation to do anything at all.
It's crazy though. I mean, my Fresh Star is off the charts. I can spot one from a mile away.
Your what?
Fresh Star. freshman radar.
Whatever. Let's see if our parents could determine who was a freshman and who wasn't.
We got 5 freshmen here and 1 senior. Can they guess who it is? Let's find out.
It's on, Baron, out!
I'm Kyle. I'm a freshman.
I'm Gabby, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Jake, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Kana, I'm a freshman.
I'm Yusuf Saker, and I'm a freshman.
Hey, how long have you been driving?
What?
How long have you been driving?
How long have you had glasses?
4 years. How old's your dad?
47.
50?
Pretty old. Person who has been voted out is Connor.
And that's all for this week's
On, Baron, out!
Hey kid, is your life garbage?
Yeah.
Well, you should try the BCC bucket hat.
Whoa! Hey guys. Hey, I'm Bill Howard, and I'm here to tell you about the epic BCC bucket hat. That hat, it sucked. That hat, it was bad. That hat, it too beige.
Baron's bucket hat, get yours today.
Thanks, guys.
Yo, Amelia, you know how last year JD, Joel, and I found that Lucky Mo was the one taking all the mirrors in the boys' bathrooms?
No.
Well, it turns out my man's Lucky was framed.
Are you for real? Let's watch an investigation on who the real mirror thief was.
Barons. I'm sure you've all noticed a very strange problem occurring around our beloved establishment. Someone has been up to something. The mirrors in the bathroom have gone missing. So we sent our highly trained investigators to gather some information. After exactly 1 year of searching, here are our findings. First, we went to the 4th floor bathroom, counted every single tile. We found 3,724. Multiplied that number by the number of stalls, divided by 7, and found nothing. And where else is there nothing? Delaware. And who, you may ask, attended the University of Delaware? Mr. Gilmore. This is where things get interesting. We set up a fake interview with Mr. Gilmore to see if any of his extensive knowledge in government will help him avoid our hard-tearing questions. Now I must warn you, my beloved audience, this man is a certified capper. This man will stop at nothing to protect the secret. So it is our job, my beloved audience, to bring you the truth.
Mr. Gilmore, how much time do you spend getting ready in the morning?
Well, no more than 2 or 3 hours. I'm usually up at 4. I have to, I put the flat iron in, the hair, got to do that. A little bit of shower, got to pick out an outfit. Usually then I'm done.
Do you make your students do a lot of reflective questions?
Yes, I always like them to to think and to reflect upon their thinking and making sure that they know everything that they need to know about the government.
Would you say that you are pretty?
Yes.
Do you like to look at yourself a lot?
when you're the total package like I am, yes. Why, yes.
Where are the mirrors, Mr. Gilmore? Where are the mirrors?
What mirrors? This interview's done.
Clearly, Mr. Gilmore is up to no good. Be careful, Barons, and remember, not everything is what it seems.
Now go on and be great, my fellow Barons, and we will see you right here next time on BCC Conspiracies.
Don't worry, guys. At BCC TV, we're all jokes. Everyone knows that was the one who stole those mirrors.
Let's see what's happening in Baron Sports this week.
Hey Barons, we've had a great week of sports as our athletes have been crushing the competition on the new field. Starting us off, field hockey had a great win against Clarksburg last Friday. Shout out to Gabby Schumacher for an amazing performance, scoring both goals. They also played Churchill on Monday, and varsity unfortunately lost. The girls went on to beat WJ on Wednesday. Varsity football took a tough loss to Clarksburg last Friday at their first home game of the season. We had 2 touchdowns from Nick Scott and McLeod Buckner. It was a rough game, but the school spirit was amazing. The boys play Northwest tonight at home at 6:30, so come out to support your Barons. Cross country ran at the Oatlands Invitational on Saturday, and it was a really hard course, but our runners raced well. They raced Whitman and Northwood on Wednesday, boys losing to both Whitman and Northwood, but the girls beating Northwood and losing to Whitman. Girls volleyball had a tough match on Tuesday, losing to Gaithersburg, but the girls worked hard. Keep up the good work, ladies. Boys soccer lost to Gaithersburg on Tuesday. It was a close game, with Gaithersburg winning a goal in overtime. The boys play Whitman next Tuesday at home. On the other hand, girls soccer dominated against Gaithersburg on Tuesday. They've had a great season so far. Keep it up, girls. Their next game is at Whitman at 7:15 on Tuesday. Remember, Whitman's our big rival, so show out and bring the spirit. Lastly, everyone should go follow our Instagram account at bcctv.co. We post behind the scenes, extended cuts, and we will be profiling our entire cast. So if once a week isn't enough for you, go follow us. That's all for the sports this week. Back to you, Ben and Amelia.
Thanks, Aiden. And that's all for this week, Barons.
Check back in next Friday for more news, updates, and humor. Keep those standards high.
And stay classy, BCC. I'm Ben Moran.
And I'm Amelia Stanley.
And we're signing off.